He has something to say. You just deserve that.
Coming next winter. After spending 8 years in solitude after attacking a cabin of campers, Sasquatch's large gated walk is about to return to revisit his former friends. This sequel promises to bring pleasure and terror to even the bravest fans of the series. Experience freakish foot sizes, mountains of matted hair, bark crumbling screams, after-hours cabin intruders, untamed passions, and eye-watering stenches. Sasquatch Rises. See it in IMAX 3D this winter. Warning! The following story includes vivid sound effects, adult situations, and the effects of high-fiber diets. Due to several complaints after last year's story, Pat had to send out special story night permission slips, aka SNPs. Before we begin, have you all read and signed your SNPs waivers?
Yes.
Yeah! No! Get out. Wrong reaction. Pat, did you remember to sign the disclaimer forms?
I forgot.
Okay, then hold on. It's going to be a wild ride. From the writers who have brought you camp epics such as Cyber Meltdown and Sasquatch Encounter, please welcome Dave Harris and Keith Raho!
Lights on or off?
Hit the lights, please. Kill these things.
Hit the lights! 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 Hit the lights!
It's like a Mexican battle.
Fiber warfare. Winds of aggression. It was a crisp evening at the campground. Fire fleas intermingled with the light of brightening stars. The dusky azure sky dwindled into twilight. The peaceful woodland sanctuary of the camp was silent. Silent but deadly. Attention campers, lights out! Echoed the screeching voice through the tree-mounted megaphone. You heard him, guys. We got 10 minutes to get ready for beds. Repeated Ann Hauser. Them counselors don't take too calmly to them campers. I passed lights out. I was planning on pulling one of them all-nighters. What gives? It was Redfin, one of the new campers from Worcester. It was his first summer in the methane-filled hills of Camp Flashuana. Camp Flashuana was specifically created for the glamorous or gaseous high-fiber lifestyle. At this camp, there were no cheeseburgers, s'mores, or fountain drinks. Only Bush's baked beans, fiber bars, and prune-flavored Monster Energy drinks. Oh no! I feel like a vacuum cleaner. In reverse. I can't feel my legs. Like most campers, Anhauser loved technology, but unlike most campers, he had a permanent SIM card installed in his brain. He spent most of his days in the cyber world, tweeting 24/7, texting while driving, and incessantly updating his Facebook status, no matter how insignificant his comments. One time, his Facebook status stated the inconsequential observation, updating my Facebook status. His obsession with everything that had a touchscreen and beeped at you came to a twisted pinnacle one day when he robbed several birds' nests to play a game of real-life Angry Birds in his backyard. Just turn off the lights so we can get some shut-eye, quipped Travis as he pulled the last inches of a 3-foot jalapeno butterscotch Slim Jim out of the wrapper and devoured it. Travis was bitter ever since his dad promised to take him to see the new Batman movie. However, after his dad camped out for tickets for 2 days, a computer glitch at the ticket machine caused Magic Mike tickets to print instead of Batman. That happens all the time. Cutting their losses, the family decided to go anyway, making for an uncomfortable 2 hours of family bonding.
I want to see that movie.
I know. The consequences of a bran-heavy dinner were beginning to take their toll on the mood. To make smells worse, the theme for the week at camp was, "Don't hold it in." Travis was one of the fortunate ones who got a bed near the only window in the cabin. If anyone had lit a match that night, the cabin would have combusted into a billion toothpicks.
This place smells like my border collie's breath.
Cried a fading camper under his sleeping bag who didn't have much air left to keep going. All of a sudden, alerts started erupting on each camper's cell phone. Alex's iPhone beeped. Cody's Android rang a tune, and Anheuser's head started vibrating. Incoming text messages broke the stale air of the cabin.
It's from the campers across Lake Cespual. They're saying that cyber drones have been spotted in the forest, and they have been disabling the central mainframe in the regional power network. Not only that, but they said the drones are heading this way.
Pure dread swept across the faces of the boys in the cabin. They knew that since the camp staff was at their end of the week last gas dance, the campers would need to handle this on their own. Anheuser suddenly realized that if the robot shut down the central mainframe, his technology-ridden lifestyle would be in jeopardy. Life as he knew it, like this methane-fumigated cabin, would be unbearable.
Come on, guys.
He yelled, standing up.
This is our chance to defend what's ours, to retain peace in our country, to get some fresh air, for crying out loud.
The campers of the cabin bolted in unison towards the door faster than the attendees at an all-you-can-eat fiber tacos night. The last camper to leave was Redfin, who just stood in the door.
No harms, no fouls. But the last time my cousin Elwood left his cabin at night, he ended up having to billy club Sasquatch. I'm with you,
chimed in Travis.
There's no way I can hike now. That giant Slim Jim, I just say, it feels like a kielbasa lodged in a garden hose. At that moment, a mysterious voice came from through the nearby trees.
Either we kill the robots now, or we be brought back to time, where the unfriend people face to face.
It was Jens, a German-American camper who opted to forego the room and board fee of camp to bunk in a woodland outhouse. Jens figured that it all smelled the same anyway. Jens was the cousin of Gerhard, an attendee of camp last year. Gerhard was currently working as a busboy at the local restaurant Stallions, which primarily served horse meat. Jens continued,
If you need a comrade in arms, I'll be your ally.
Anheuser and his bunk buddies acted on instincts to trust him. As they began their trek through the degenerate skunk haze of the camp's woodland perimeter, Anheuser, Travis, and Redfin briefed Jens, which mainly consisted of a standard issue pair of Fruit of the Loom tighty-whities. Jens was interested in the group's plan to destroy the cyber drones. It was all ears when it came to the exact details regarding the campers' endgame. Silence fell on the group. All in a sudden, an impromptu fart release from Travis literally blew their cover, and the subatomic pulse of a strobe flare skyrocketed through the troop, splitting their battalion in half. As the forest became alive with hydroid machine gun power, the campers drove for cover behind dying trees and old generators. The hydraulic roar of the cyber drones made the commands of the cabin leaders inaudible. In a flash of terror, the campers had only one option: run! Without a second to lose, the campers' legs quickly got a case of the runs, and after running for a solid minute, the drum of cyber shells was temporarily in the distance. With the robots at bay for the moment, Jens smiled as he came up with a plan.
The only way we can get the upper hand on the robots is to flank them by crossing behind the cafeteria.
Jens went to the front of the pack, forging ahead through the woods. Nobody picked up on the fact that Jens was giggling silently as he led the way. The buzz of mosquitoes at their heads was deafening, and they could see the apocalyptic glow of the cyber drones destroying the mainframes in the distance. As they reached the cafeteria, Jens accidentally tripped on the tree root and tumbled face first into a slime puddle. As he spun around, sparks began to ripple from beneath his shirt. Before they knew what was happening, he burst into shreds of twisted metal, his pre-programmed maniacal laugh screeching.
I'm not the last sleeper agent.
Immediately, robots burst into the clearing. Jens had set them up. As they began to surround the campers, millions of other cyber drones appeared. Not only were they intimidating in size, they were wearing the latest in robot fashion. Leather hardware satchels, fabulous robo-heels, and berets fashioned in the style the Americans wore during the Olympic opening ceremonies.
I love my country.
The campers instinctively dove out of sight as the vision scopes of the drones slowly scanned the woods. The campers crouched in perfect silence as the drones surveyed for movement. Travis's intestinal relief quickly became a toxic dilemma for him and his campers. One of the corroded heads of a cyber drone turned around 180 degrees and stared down the campers. Its gigantic shoulder-mounted XG-3000 aimed itself at Travis. The barrel started to turn and began spinning, ready to fire, when a massive explosion went off, and as the smoke cleared, Travis realized he was still alive. In-Houser had thrown his USB port into the plasma cannon at the last second, creating a backfire. As fate would have it, the battle had begun. The campers fought with the strength of many men and used their cell phones to send brutal text messages to the motherboards of the drones, programming them to shut down. Since Christopher already used up his 50,000 texts on his monthly plan, he frantically chucked Mountain Dew cans at the processor boards of the drones, disabling them in a hurricane of the sodium's brominated vegetable oil. As In-Houser rained blows upon his robotic foe, he remembered back to the time where his first hatred of robots was born. Take it away.
She was his elementary school sweetheart, the first girl he had ever had the courage to kiss on the cheek, the absolute love of his life. It was only on their second date that he knew she would be the woman that he would one day take to the Christmas semi-formal. Until, smoking hot. Until that fateful night where she forgot to put on her makeup and showed up at his house with her facial metal exposed. His world crumbled around him with the awful realization,
my girlfriend is a robot!
As shattered robots fell to the ground amidst the sizzling piles of rusted metal, the camper saw a hulking bot near the back of the battle lines, who appeared to be programming the drones and directing them to fight. The campers maneuvered their way through the putrid mess of smoking metal and got closer to the cyber boss. Using their cell phone cords as weapons, they eliminated hundreds of drones at a time until their target was right in front of them. The boss was an enhanced cyber drone measuring over 50 feet with 10 spinning plasma rifles and a torso that spun 380 degrees. His main cargo bay consisted of thousands of crates of all-brand cereal, refried bean cans, and aerosol cheddar cheese. Oh, who eats this stuff? Tremendous exhaust pipes on the boss's power generator were spraying thick plumes of sulfuric gases into the air. Training his dead eyes on the awestruck campers, he began to speak.
My name is Robotic Infrared Producer 1, also known as RIP 1. I am the director and founder of the cyber drone camp called the League of Microchips, which is a registered 501c3 for tax purposes.
Some type of weird mask covered the lower half of his face, apparently keeping his central air intake safe from the toxic atmosphere of the forest. What would happen if I took off your mask?
Seethed In-Houser. I would smell very horrible things,
replied Rip 1. Well, why are you taking over our camp? Screamed a boy.
I wasn't always this way. I used to be a regular cyberbot, trained in the sacred code of the drone, until I learned that this campground needed to be cleansed from injustice to rid criminals from our camps. I began the fiber diet craze in hopes that the atmosphere would be poisoned and cease to sustain life altogether. A new breed of camps, ridden of your kind, could then be created. A new beginnings is near.
He continued.
There is no solution for you. It doesn't matter how hard you fight. What matters is our plan. First, I'll make you smell fear. Then I'll show you I've made this camp my home while preparing to bring justice. Then I will break you.
Thinking quickly, Anheuser activated his cranial SIM card to send a distress text message to the other cabins. They were going to need all the help they could get. However, due to the extreme roaming fees in this part of the country, compiled by the unfathomable overage caused by Anheuser's incessant cell phone use, a mass text message would not be a wise financial decision. With no other options left, he did the unthinkable. He used verbal communication. In the loudest voice he could muster, he screamed,
Cabins unite! We need your help!
Instantaneously, hundreds of additional campers attacked from all angles of the fight zone.
Now that's what I call a voicemail.
With one camper who was promptly crushed by the foot of a giant Malomon. Rip 1 was quickly surrounded by the campers. With his hands off his control panel, the other robots were temporarily immobilized. Having no place to run, he fell to his gears to receive mercy for the horde he had unleashed at this already pretty awful campground. Standing face to face with Rip 1, Anheuser knew what pure evil smelled like. To be frank, his robot odor made the camp sewer system look like a picnic. Reaching his trembling hand forward, he plucked a few of the air intake respirators from Rip 1's face mask. With a flush of depressurizing air, Rip 1's robotic eyes immediately began to dilate. His melatonin muscles began to deflate, and his walkie-talkie fell lifelessly to the ground. It was over. The campers were relieved to have defeated the cyber boss and his legion of cronies. Their evil plot to not only threaten the lives of those heroic campers, but the entire future of summer camps themselves. The campers knew that they had to rush back to the camp and tell their camp director about what happened, and to get him to prepare for further cyber attacks in the future. They thought that they could finally breathe easy again. But then they realized when they saw the number on Rip 1's walkie-talkie, he was the camp director. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.